I know we had a big group last week. Um, I think John Bocek gave us so much information. I got a lot of comments from you guys this week, which was great. So hopefully you guys like that. And he's going to be back next week, starting his. I asked him. He's been a professional trader for, I don't know, over a decade, maybe 15 years now. And he also manages just a ton of money, and this is what he does all day long. And I asked him, I really challenged him. I said, hey, this is a group that we're getting into investing. We want to understand how this works. What's the version you would have preferred to learn back in the day? How do you simplify this? And out of all the stuff you've tried and that's been true, and especially if you have a job and you're not able to sit at a computer and stare at tickers all day long. So that's what I challenged him with. And so he's putting something together for us that's like his investing 101, like just winning trades that you can do over a period of time. It's not a day trade or anything you have to sit and really monitor a ton. And so what we're going to do is, in preparation for that class, I want to make sure we're all at an even playing field so that when he's talking about things, it's not going over our heads and we're understanding that. So this is going to be a little bit more like a prep class, and feel free to ask questions. We're all new to this, so there's no bad questions, dumb questions. If you're not understanding something, definitely feel free to to jump in and say, hey, I don't get that. Let's go over that again. So I figured we'll go over some of the basics first, and then I'll ask some questions, and what you can do to get prepared for those that haven't been in last week's class is, if you can, sign up for tradingview.com. This is maybe for Chris and Alex. Almost everybody else, I think, is already set up. It's a free account. Ignore the ads to buy it. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. You can sign up with your Google, I believe. So just go to tradingview.com and sign up, because that's what we're going to be using today as our primary app, that application we're going to be using. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to do that. And in the meanwhile, I'll go over some of what we're going to cover today. So what we're going to cover is candlesticks. We're going to cover up and down trends and how to see those quickly, support and resistance, and then some major indicators that I think John really uses. So that's what we're going to cover today. And if you understand these things that we're going to talk about today, you're pretty much ready to start trading. At this point, you'll have enough of the knowledge to start trading. There are a ton of indicators out there, a lot of different strategies. You don't need to learn them all. You don't need to learn every single one of them. It can become a rabbit hole, and that could just be like analysis paralysis, where you don't get started until you try to learn everything. So that's why I asked John, hey, give me the gold, man, that we can start with and really begin trading and be successful with it. And then after this investing course, we are doing a trading group that will be like organized. I think he prefers WhatsApp, and we'll trade on there together. And so it's almost like, I told Nico, I have traded quite a few times with John, and it feels like walking down like the street holding your dad's hand, if you have a good relationship with your dad, right? But like as a child, like you just feel like really secure, because he's so knowledgeable about how everything works. You can see it from so many different angles. So today we'll get into that as well. So hopefully when you look at a chart, you'll look at it differently after today.
Pablo, I was going to ask, even as we're waiting, I would love to even hear like some of your guys' thoughts on just even last week, and any takeaways you guys have been thinking about. I know my head has been kind of spinning from all of it. Yeah.
Or some thoughts.
Just some thoughts. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys, like what stood out to you guys from John's talk last week.
Yep. Anybody want to share? Because I did get a bunch of comments.
Feel free to unmute and share if you want.
I for one felt the
go ahead.
So I thought the concept of assigning like kind of a personality to each individual stock was a really interesting concept that I hadn't really considered in the past. And then just seeing like the behavior of that personality, like looking at a few of my own personal stock picks, like there's definitely trends there.
It's cool.
Yeah. So I think Ryan's referring to you open up a chart, and sure, you may know indicators and things like that, but actually looking at what does this particular stock behave like? Where does it bounce off of what moving average is and things like that? It starts, you kind of see like, oh, this particular stock loves the 20-day moving average. It always goes to it and bounces off, or, you know, so there's certain things that I think, you know, certain personalities, or for me on that, Ryan, I'll say, some stocks never get to the oversold or overbought levels. They never reach it for whatever reason. And that's very interesting to me too. And then some other ones just go way into it, you know? So I think looking at the history of the personality of the stock is also pretty cool as well. Definitely a great point. How about Micah or Veronica? What do you guys think about last week's?
So I have a comment and a question, and then I think Veronica does too. But last week was great. Obviously, it was great to hear like his perspective on the like what the financial economy is doing and what's going on and what the drivers are. But like specifically, I walked away from that like I need to go buy bonds, because he hit on it really hard. Even though we were talking about everything that falls in that. You know, the whole idea of investing, but he hit on bonds really strongly. And so I walked away like doing some research, like what do I need? Do I need to, I guess, back up some other riskier investments with bonds right now, or is that a smart move? And so that started a lot of questions for me. And then, you know, more specifically, which types of bonds and, you know, from who and how to buy them. But it was really great having him on. He obviously is super smart, and you know, like your analogy of holding your dad's hand or something. I think we all would love to have somebody like him around to just be like, hey, what about this stock, or what about this sector, or something like that, like, because he knows what's going on like in the meta universe of
The metaverse.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily have that stuff no matter how much you read if you don't live it every day. But yeah, it was really great. And then I had a bunch of follow-up questions about bonds in general, and then I have some specific stuff afterwards we can ask about technical analysis, like specific to indicators and things like that. But I think Veronica has some questions too.
Well, I was just going to say, like, it helped to understand that overview of the economy and how things are interrelated. And when you hear things on the news, like even this week, hearing things, I was able to understand it better and not get as worried, or just be like, oh, that's going to be okay, or this is related to that. Like, just, I didn't know these things.
Connect some dots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, along those lines, Vero, this is Lily. Yeah, I just feel like when I hear someone in the office or just news, you just feel like you're more informed and you question things, or you feel like they're lying, they're not telling you everything, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, for sure. That was good. But overall, my gosh, he is extremely knowledgeable and a little hard to keep up with as you're learning from him, but a very inspiring. I find it very inspiring.
Very passionate about it, which
very passionate.
I try to find people
Yes.
like everybody that we're going to bring into this group. If you don't love what you're doing or want to teach it, like let's find someone that does, you know.
Exactly.
It's easier to learn from them, and they really care.
For sure. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's jump into what what we're going to get into today. So we're going to do a little recap of like 2 weeks ago. So number one thing that we want to look when you're looking at a chart and a pattern is all these little, you're seeing all these little squiggly lines here. You're like, okay, there's red and green. They're called candlesticks, and they are reflective of the price of an asset or a stock or a crypto, whatever you're looking at, right? So in TradingView, in this top left area is where it says symbol search. You can click in there and basically type in any company name, any crypto, whatever you want to look at. So I typed in Tesla, and it showed me that, yep, there's Tesla. The symbol is TSLA. There's always a symbol for a stock or a crypto, like a short acronym sort of for it. And then it'll tell you what exchange or what store, right? We talked about exchanges being kind of like stores that offer certain products. So you can get Tesla on the NASDAQ. And if you just click it, it'll open up its chart, right? And then you start to see these candlesticks. And the candlesticks really represent the price action. So they represent price based on the what hourly or time frame chart you're looking at. So right now, every single, just right here that it says 1 hour, every single line represents 1 hour of time. So this is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is like 7 hours of time right here, right? And so every single one is 1 hour of time. But you can change this chart and you can make it all the way down to a minute. So now we're looking at every single one of this was a minute, nine, you can look at the time on the bottom here. I can't really point to it, but if you look right under there, you'll see that it's changing by the minute. And you can go all the way up to, 4 hours. Each one is 4 hours. And so you can now start to see, a month, this is May, June, July, right? And then you can go up to like even a day where every single one is 1 day. And so you're seeing like the larger trend of Tesla, right? What is it doing over a larger period of time? Maybe even going back to multiple years. You can go to a week. Now you're seeing, whoa, okay, now we're talking, 2017, Tesla was $42, you know what I mean? And so you start to really see the movement it's had, right? Like it's got some major movement. And even on the weekly, you'll start to even recognize certain patterns. Do you see a pattern here, Nico? So you start to even recognize certain patterns on larger time frames. They start to form different patterns. And here's like the monthly, right? Every month, what has Tesla done? And so when we're talking about green and red, we're really talking about, because it's still not going to mean much if you don't know what that means. So let's bring up what that means. So every single candle, what this means is the price opened at this bottom level when it's green. And it means that throughout that time period, it went maybe that low and maybe this high, but it closed the candle at this price. So let's just take an example here. Let's take this first one. I'm going to zoom in really big on this so you guys can see it.
Yeah, when the month started.
Yeah, so this one's, let's do the previous month, so June, right? Because this is actually, it probably closed, it hasn't closed yet. So let's do, let me do a week. Let me do a daily, actually. That's a little easier. Let's do a daily. It doesn't matter what the time frame is. The candle is always read the same way. So what did we say? The bottom of this body here is where it opened. So it opened at like $649. And you can actually, if you just hover over it, you'll see this information up here too. That's what the O is. So it opened at $649.79 when the market opened this morning. And throughout the day, it went as low as $648.80, right? You can see it right here. It kind of went a little low. And then at the high of the day, it went all the way up to $684. But when the market closed, it actually closed at $677. That's what this is telling me. So just off the bat, what do did Tesla have a good day? Bad day? What do you guys think?
Had a good day.
Pretty good.
Had a good day. Yeah, it went up 4.7% basically just today, right? So so that's what these candles are showing. And then the opposite on this red day here, it means that it opened up here. It opened at 663, but it actually ended up closing the day here at 644. And at some point though, it got all the way down to 626, but buyers came in, bought it up, and they shot the price up a little higher. Even though it closed lower, you can see that there was some buyers came in, right? Some buyers came in. And if you really want to break this down, you can go to lower time frames and see like where the buyers came in. They actually came in right here. You can see it like this, sell, sell, sell. And then buyers like, buy, 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 buy. And they pushed it right back up, right? So actually you start breaking down that from this moment, 1:30 2 days ago, it's been a generally like uptrend for Tesla since that kind of sell off here, right? So that's kind of the first thing that we want to really understand is these candlesticks. It takes a little while to get used to it and seeing it, but just to make it easy, if it's red, it means it closed below that in that time frame. And if it's green, it means it's basically closed higher, so a higher high in that time frame. And,
Pablo, Vero had a quick question.
Mhm.
She said, what is the usual time frame that you use?
Oh, that's a great question. So there's no usual time frame. You can use depending on what you're doing. Like let's say I'm trying to day trade Tesla. I would probably go down to the 5-minute chart because I want to see what is it doing right now, right? It's because that's where I'm at right now. Now, let's say I want to be a long-term investor for
swing trading.
Yeah, swing trading or long-term trading. Some of the major ones, like I'll give you some of the main ones that everybody uses. You want the daily is like the default, right? Like the daily chart is the default chart where I just want to see. I can zoom out here.
You can see a trend. Yeah,
and you can see a trend, what it's been doing. And it's used quite a bit, especially with other indicators, as we'll get into later. So the daily trend is pretty important. When you're trading though, I go all the way down to a minute sometimes. And I know John does as well, especially we're entering a trade because I want to know exactly what's going on. I want to be like right on top of it. So, so it just kind of depends on what your scenario is and what you're trying to see.
Yeah, Pablo, we both had the same question. It's funny that you had Tesla up because I had that up on my trading view too when we sat down, because if you look at, like, I had the question about intervals, like if I'm just looking at it for swing trading, should I be using 1 day? That's what I've been looking at. But if you look at Tesla right now, it's like right on the line and you can't really tell what it's doing. And, you know, I have this indicator that's showing like, it like flags whenever the like the 20 or the 50 and the 100 cross.
Yeah.
So it's just filled with a bunch of like buy sell marks right now. And I'm like, what are you supposed to do with Tesla? So I just held it this week. I was like, I didn't do anything with it. So I needed to zoom in, I guess, closer and see maybe hourly or something like that to be able to tell, I guess.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. And something, there's a YouTuber guy that he always talks about, and it really helps me. But when I'm feeling like pretty overwhelmed about a stock or crypto or anything, he always says,
you guys give me 1 second, Nico. I'm gonna be right back 1 second.
I always go to a larger time frame because it really shows you like the overall larger trend, you know, and that like gives you more perspective and more ease. Because if you're in like the hourly, it's very emotional because it's going up and down, or like like the 5-minute, it's going up and down like crazy. You're like, oh my gosh. But if you zoom out to the monthly or you can really see like, oh wow, the overall trend, this thing is going up, you know. So I always use that when I feel lost in the weeds of the candles. I always try to zoom out a little bit and get a little more perspective.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I was just wondering if you pick an hour, let's say you want to do day trading at a 4-hour range and you're watching it. And then of course you're watching the 1 hour, the 30 minutes, the 15 minutes, like Pablo said, even the 5 minutes or 1 minute. And it's just rapidly going down and you're within that 4-hour range. How do you say, okay, let's just be patient. Let's wait till the next day, but it keeps going down. How do you know when to get out? I mean, of course you have the stop loss, but then you kind of break even or you lose a little bit.
Yeah. And that's where TA really comes in helpful, because you can start to when you zoom out, you can make lines, and Pablo will show you. I'll ask him to show you what he did with Bitcoin, but you can see like key resistant levels of prices. So like, let's say with Bitcoin, 30K was a big support line. So, like a lot of people bought, like the volume and the support there was pretty big. So if it breaks that, you kind of know like, okay, it's going to drop. If it breaks this certain resistance, it's going to drop a significant amount, so you can even in your TA write the zones. Pablo, I'm talking about, she was asking, when something starts dropping, how do you know when to get out?
Yeah, so we'll get into that, Lily, because I think was that Lily who's asking? Yeah, we'll get into that, because the reason why that's happening is because you need to understand where the support and where the resistances are. Yep. And once you know where that's at, it's going to be really clear how this all kind of works together.
Okay,
and
that's what Nico was saying. Yeah.
If you don't know support, so that's support and resistance, but you can't do support and resistance if you don't know candlesticks. And so let's kind of go in order here.
Okay, thank you.
So with the candlesticks, does this make sense to everybody? you know, in TradingView, I'll give you a couple of tricks. There's some times that you move things around. You can move your mouse wheel. You can make it up and down this way if you want to see things clear. There's also this auto button here that you can click, and it just kind of auto fits it in your window. And if you really need to see something big, you can even full screen it, and then just get really, you know, really close and,
Close
you
and
know,
personal.
yeah, real close on and seeing something like, I want to really get in here, you know. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of view. So just want to give you guys some of those tips on how to view this, because there may be times that you get in here and it may look like this, you know. Let's say it looks like this. You're like, oh, what am I doing? Maybe the first thing you'll want to do is hit this auto button, and maybe put this on the daily is what I would recommend. And then that way you're kind of, okay, you got a pretty good view here. So let's just start with that. So with the candlesticks, everybody kind of understand how this wick is, and these are called wicks, just like, you know, candlestick wick. This is a wick. It just means that the price didn't close or open there, but it hit that during that time frame. At some point, it went that low, right? And we'll get into a little bit later, I don't think in this class, but there's ways to even look at candlestick patterns to know that it's like very bullish, which is great, going up, or bearish, where there's a lot of sell pressure. There's ways to know that, and certain patterns that you can learn. But you know, just to know that this is a very deep subject. It kind of goes pretty deep. You can really study it. But we're going to kind of give you like the basics so that you can just kind of look and not get you know, not get wrecked, you know, not stay in something where it's completely bottoming out, or also don't miss a big upside move. I think that's what we're going to cover. So the next thing, so any questions on candlesticks before I continue? I just want to make sure everybody kind of understands that, or if you have a question or it seems still fuzzy, please raise your hand. It's not a problem. No, you guys all got it? All right. The next thing that we'll do is we really want to understand up and down trends. Are we in an uptrend or are we in a downtrend? That would be the first thing. When I look at something, automatically my brain's telling me, are we in an uptrend or a downtrend, right? And this is where it gets a little tricky, Lily, because you can be in an uptrend in the short term, but in a downtrend in the long term, and vice versa. You can be on a downtrend in the short term, but an uptrend on the long term, right? So a great example of this is actually Bitcoin. So let's look at the Bitcoin chart here real quick. And I have all my indicators off to just kind of keep this clean. So here's Bitcoin, and let's just look from April 21st. What would you guys say we're in from April 21st till now? What do you guys think? Uptrend, downtrend?
Downtrend.
Downtrend? Everybody agree? Yeah. Okay. Now let me zoom out. Let me zoom out to the weekly. And
It was a bull market. It's still bull market, but we're down from that indicator you said. Yeah.
This is the logarithmic, which shows kind of it's a different type of scale that, you know, for Bitcoin. Actually, I'm going to do the Brave New Coin. Let's see, BLX. This guy. So this goes back. We are going back to 2011, where Bitcoin, don't you wish you bought Bitcoin at 6 cents? Anybody wish in 2011 you bought some of these like nerd coins on the internet?
Just $100.
Yeah, a couple $100 right here, Chris. Would have been a pretty good investment. So from 2011 till now, are we in a downtrend or an uptrend? What do you guys think?
Significant uptrend.
Uptrend.
Trend.
Massive, right? And then if you look at let's look at that's what is it called? I'm trying to find, what would it called? Purchasing power. Purchasing power, is that what it is? This is the Federal Reserve site. Purchasing power. US dollar purchasing power. How's this chart? What does this look like to you over time? It's from 1915 till now.
Hilarious downtrend.
Huh?
A hilarious downtrend.
So let's look at these again. Last 10 years over time, the dollar over time. Huh. Interesting, right? And it doesn't matter what time frame you look at, even if you make this shorter. This is from 1988 till now. You can see it's steadily going down. So this is what John was talking about. Are things getting more expensive? Not really. It's just your dollar's getting weaker. So that's why things get more expensive, because your power of purchasing is just dropping and dropping and dropping over time. So holding cash over time has been, you know, in the short term, you don't feel it move, right? It's like we're rotating, we don't feel it. But over time, we are losing purchasing power just by holding cash. So whereas holding Bitcoin has been a really good move. And, you know, we kind of showed that even if you bought the top of every market, you'd be in a fantastic position as long as you didn't sell. Just holding it has been a very fantastic move. So this is an example of a long trend versus in the short trend, we all agree that we're definitely in a downtrend, right? And I think that's the confusing part for the market, because the news and the media jumps in on these downtrends. Bitcoin lost 90% of its value, blah, blah, blah. It's $40,000. Like, it used to be 6 cents. You know, it was 3,000 just a year ago. So
a year ago,
you got to understand the larger trend that's going on, because if not, you'll always miss the boat. You will always think it's expensive. You will always, you know, and that's how assets work. That's not just with Bitcoin. Pull up the Amazon chart, pull up any chart you want. If we look at Amazon here, another, you know, amazing company, and you look at that over time, you know, I can't even do it logarithmically here. Let's see. I mean, it was $3, and sad story, I do remember it at $3 after the 2000 crash. It went up, actually. You can't even see it here, but if I were to zoom in here, you'll see it had a massive crash in the 2000. And you know, I got in somewhere here and I got wrecked, and I was a kid, I was a teenager, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose everything. You get out. It dropped all the way to like $5. And since then, it's just, you know, gone on a
true moon shot.
Yeah, it's been just a astronomical investment. Anywhere that you catch it over here till now is like, what is that, 53,000%, right? Something ridiculous. So anyways, it's good to know. The reason why I'm showing you this is it's good to know the up and the downtrends, not only of the short term, but now you have the skill and the ability to look and zoom out and see what is this doing on the longer frame. And that does change your mindset. If you are what we're going to call an investor, is usually a long-term approach. A trader is not an investor. That's a different type of it's a different skill. So investing is long-term. I believe in this company, whether it's down or up, I'm going to keep buying it. I'm invested in this. A trader is like, I'm looking for optimal times to get in and optimal times to get back out. And in that exchange is where I make my profit, and I'm back in cash or back into my accounts and ready for the next trade. So that's more of a trader. And you can trade on a daily time frame, on a weekly, you can even do a year-long trade. I didn't trade. I was funny because when we did our taxes, I didn't do any trades last year, which you got, anybody that knows me knows I love this stuff. I didn't do a single trade last year. I just bought. All I did the last couple of years was buy, and I didn't sell anything until this year. So, so you don't have to be sitting there all the time and being very active as a day trader or anything like that to get some profit. So let me show you how you can identify trends in the short term. Long term, I think, is really easy. I think it's harder in the short term. So let's go to like a 1-day chart. And so you see something like this, right? And this could be a little bit confusing, like, is it up, is it down, right? And so the easy way to do this is really to understand lows and highs, right? So we made a move up. Oh, let me get all, I need to find a Bitcoin chart that I haven't drawn all over. Hold on. Who do I never trade with, Nico?
You've used a lot of these.
Bitfinex. I do not use Bitfinex. Okay, let me take these indicators off. Sorry, I just want to get a clean chart for you guys. Okay, I'll take these other indicators off. All right, here we go. And I'll make this big. So the way you kind of do this is, I want my little drawing tool here though. You want to see that there's it's called higher highs and lower, higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so if I back up a little bit, let's see here, and zoom out. So here, at this point, you see that it had this like impulse move, and after every impulse move, you have a pullback, another impulse move, pullback, another impulse move, pullback, right? So let's stop right there. Notice this. This is one high and this is the low of that move, right? So is this low higher than the last low? Yes, right? And this high is higher than this high. So this is in an uptrend for sure. I mean, you can really clearly see that it's in an uptrend, and it continued to be in an uptrend right here, right? And another higher low, right? Boom, boom, boom. This is in March. This is Bitcoin chart. And then if you keep going, you notice we set another higher high, right? You can start to see this trend over here going higher. However, we set a low here. What do we notice different about this low? Anybody?
Lower than the previous,
Lower.
but it's on par with the second lowest.
Yeah, let's put that line there. So this was our previous lower low of that impulse pullback. So remember, impulse pullback, impulse pullback, impulse pullback. At this pullback, we impulsed again up, but when we dropped, we went lower than this low. That's warning. You know what I mean? Hey, we broke a what? What did we break? We broke a trend. So the trend was going up, and at this point, we actually broke our upwards trend with this move down here. Okay, and usually that's a sign of a reversal, right? That's a reversal sign. That's like, hey, warning. Now, what happens is the market did another impulse up. You're at 59,000. And a lot of people could be saying, hey, we're gonna, this was just not a big deal. You know what I mean? No big deal. We're gonna keep going up. However, you set a lower low, and guess what happened when you reached this next resistance, which was right here? It did not continue to go up, and it actually made a real strong move down, right? There's other things that are going on here. There's other patterns that we can get into, but I think just very clearly, just following this very simple logic, you can see that it's starting to round over. And this would have been a very early indicator that market sentiment is churning. And you can do that on almost any stock, right? So generally stocks are moving in one of three directions. They're making an uptrend like this. They're making a sideways, kind of like what we're in right now. You can kind of see we're in a sideways choppy. Usually that's called an accumulation phase. That's when a lot of big institutions and whales and people with a lot of money are accumulating something for some major movement. So there's an accumulation phase, which is a little choppy. And then you also have downtrends, just straight up downtrends where you're going down. And that's just a straight up bear market, what they would call a bear market. So, the last one in Bitcoin that I think we're all familiar with is this one, where from this point you're chopping, you had your big move, here's your little impulse up, but you made the lower, right? The lower high, you made your move up, and then you get this sideways choppiness accumulation, right? And straight up into your bear market. Now you're in your bear market and you're accumulating. And you notice at these bottom levels, these little lines here at the bottom are volume. Notice at these real bottom levels, look at all these green candles in here. There's a lot of buy pressure, right? People are buying it super cheap. Bitcoin at $3,200 is just getting bought up. And nothing really significant happened with the price too much. It kind of stayed there. But then you get the big buys, boom, boom. Price starts moving back up and we're back in an uptrend. So it's the first thing I do when I look at something is you want to look, what's the trend? What's the current trend and where are we at? And so Lily, this is very helpful because what you want to do is if you're going to trade something, you want to go into lower time frames and really start to see where's the support and resistance on this trend, right? And so that's the next thing that we're going to get into, supports and resistance. So let me take a pause right there. I've been talking for a little bit. We went over candlesticks, And now we kind of went in up and down trends, right? And you really know you're going into an uptrend when you keep those higher highs and higher lows. And you know you're in a downtrend when you have lower highs and lower lows, okay? So we all agreed that Bitcoin is in a downtrend, right? Because here was the high, I'll just show it to you. Here was the high, you have an impulse move down, here's the low, move up. This is now the high, which is lower than this one, move down. Now you're over here, move up. This is the next lower one. You see how it's a really ugly drop. This is a steep drop here. And then you get another low down here. That one hurt, right? And then you got the high here. So you can see, and then we kind of leveled out here. We're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. And we're just in this sideways kind of accumulation right now, okay? But even within all of this, let me just clean this up here. I forget how to do that.
It's like the bottom right thing, Paulo.
Yeah, well, I know this one will get rid of it. So even though we're in this phase, we're still in a range. We're totally still in a range. So you can start mapping this out with trend lines, okay? And that's one of the best ways to know support and resistance. So let's go on a daily chart and let's do a trend line. So if you guys want to go to Bitcoin, you can do this with me and you'll do kind of your first trend lines. Let me do like a reset chart. I forget.
Paulo, that deck looking thing under above the question mark on the far right.
Mm-hmm.
Further right. Down, yeah, that.
Yes, then. Sweet.
You can delete your lines.
Okay. I have to go one by one. I'm sure there's a reset that I don't know about. Okay, anyways, let me get my trend line here. So the way that I do trend lines, and it's just kind of a very basic way, is I will normally go to the daily chart. And let's say I want to see this. So I know we had this big massive movement. I'll probably put a line here at the bottom of this range, and I'm going to connect it to the top of these wicks. So let me make this big so you can kind of see, right? And then I'm going to do another one on the bottom. So I'm going to get the bottom of this movement and connect the bottom of these wicks. And I see that we're in this channel now, right? So something interesting happened very recently, but we've been in this trend. And I think I have a chart that I may already have a lot of this drawn out so I can show you so clearly. Let me see if, oh, this one's perfect. Okay, I already had it done. All right, check this out. So you will notice that as we dropped, we entered this channel here. At the beginning of the channel, this is on the daily, you'll notice we were closing the candles on the top. And even though we went all the way down, what do you guys notice? Was there any closes? Let me zoom in here. Were there any closes below this purple box? No. So Bitcoin was dropping down to this 29 level, but the buying pressure was so high, it would close way up here about 36 within the same day.
You had minutes.
So yeah, you're right, Nico. You had, if you wanted to buy Bitcoin at 29, you need to be a sniper. It was down there for like 30 seconds and it just get bought right back up, right? And that's what these long wicks are showing you, is that a lot of buy pressure on the bottom, and it's actually closing at 36,000, even though it hit 29. So somebody made a real quick buck. They made a lot of money in a very fast amount of time on these days. Lots of volatility. Traders love volatility. So this is going up and down. So you notice nothing closed under $33,000. Nothing would close during the day. But on June 21st, something happened differently. We closed under this trend, right? And if you notice from that point on, we couldn't get above 36,000. We could not close above it now. Now we're no longer in this space up here. We are now, this where we were previously at, 36, 39, we're playing in these ranges. That's gone now. Now we're in this bottom range. However, if you zoom out, I have this bottom range at 29,000 and I have this top range around 42 that's trending down, right? And so this becomes my larger channel. So when you look at it like this, can you see really clearly what Bitcoin's been doing? It's been in this top range, it broke down and now got in this bottom range. And I even drew another trend right there that's showing that it couldn't, it couldn't really, boom, it pinged it, tried again here, kept breaking down. When it's breaking down like this, this is called, like a descending triangle, descending wedge. There's a lot of different names for it. But it's this kind of pattern that's going down and staying kind of pressured, but also doesn't break down this bottom level. It's actually a bullish pattern. And that took me a long time to understand. This is actually a really positive thing.
Good sign.
It's a really good sign. And you're waiting for a breakout. And a breakout is when the price moves outside of the trend. When did that happen? That happened July 23rd.
I think a lot of us bought that dip too, which was pretty
We
epic.
certainly did. Yeah. I put it in our group. I was telling you guys, I personally bought a lot of Polkadot, and I told you guys at 10.9, I'm a buyer. So I got in right here. I got in right. I didn't get the wick, but I got just right here on this wick here. And it's just been on a, pop up. I'll tell you guys why I bought that in a second. There's certain things that showed me why I would buy that and why I wouldn't buy up here. And that's something that took a long time for me to understand, because it's dropping, and you look and it looks like, hey, it's cheaper today, let me just jump in. And then you look at your indicators and it just, right, Nico? It's like,
Yep.
It's not there.
It's not
And
there
you
yet.
just have to be patient.
Patience huge.
And you'll
man.
have days that it goes up and you'll think that you made the wrong move and you just don't care. If it's not there, you don't take it, right? One of my favorite quotes, I think, from a trader, Warren Buffett, one of the best investors, if not the greatest investor of all time. He has a baseball chart in his office of Ted Williams that has all the percentages of where he bats. And Ted Williams, if you guys don't know, is like one of the greatest hitters in baseball, and the last person to hit over 400 in baseball, which is a humongous achievement. And he was significantly better in certain parts of the of the pitch. And so they would ask him, like, what's your secret? And he's like, well, I only swing when the ball's in my zone. And that's the same philosophy of Barry Bonds. He's like, he'd only swing if it's in the zone that he wants to. The cool thing about stocks is you don't have to take a trade unless it's right in that sweet spot. You have infinite number of pitches. There's not 3 and you're out. Infinite number of pitches until it hits your sweet spot. And then once it does, boom, take the trade.
Going hard. Yeah.
And going deep, right? Yeah. Go in hard. And then know where you're at in the cycle. If you notice, even on my Polkadot, I had a number, all my yellow lines are support and resistance that I had drawn out. So I knew we were near support. I knew we were near a breakout line, and we also, all the other indicators took off. And that's like, all my stuff is saying buy, green light. And you are buying fear. It's ugly to buy down here, guys. It's very scary. Look what's been happening. You're going down and losing all this money. Why in the world would you buy here and put a lot of money? There's a lot of reasons why you would have done that when you understand the indicators. So before that, I just want to get into support and resistance. So with support and resistance, the trick is finding the bottoms of a movement. And so just by drawing the line here on the bottoms, you'll start to see where the support's at, okay? And then what's really fascinating, guys, is how the coins and how the stocks or anything, how they respect how they respect these kind of movements. Let me show you. And they just kind of remember, right? So let me show you a really good example. I think I had in my other chart. Let me bring up another chart for you guys that I worked on. Any questions so far while I'm bringing this up?
No, it's funny that you just said that, because I was just gonna ask, because I was one of them that made a purchase when it was going down, and I thought, okay, great, it's a huge discount, So, but I don't fully understand how you find the bottom of a movement. So that's what you're gonna show us.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna get into right now.
Yeah.
So you'll notice. So let's say that
Well, there's a question about the magnet tool. What does the magnet tool do?
Oh, magnet tool. It when I'm drawing a trend line, it goes to the top automatically of one of these wicks, so I don't have to be so precise. So if I grab this trend line, it automatically will see it picked exactly at the bottom of a wick.
Oh, that's really nice. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool tool. So let me show you a chart I drew, I think in November.
Long time
maybe,
ago.
No, maybe earlier, maybe like in September. I drew this chart and I haven't really moved it. All I've done is extend the boxes to the right. And the way it plays out is ridiculous. I'll just walk you through it and why this is how it works. So for anybody that's been following Bitcoin, we know that $20,000 is a key level. And stocks have a particular type of memory. Why would 20,000 be a key level? Does anybody that's been following Bitcoin know? Anybody?
All-time
Ryan, I
high.
know you know.
All-time high of 2017.
Crypto winter.
Yep. So crypto winter. So let me show you why. So the previous high of Bitcoin, and this is for any stock, so don't get too stuck in Bitcoin. This applies to anything. The previous high was around $20,000, 19,000 some on some exchanges, but it's roughly around $20,000. So I'm going to put that yellow line there, right there. So that's the high of Bitcoin as of 2017. And you'll see that it really dropped, right? It really, really dropped all the way down in this low level here to like 5,000. And then in the depression stage, there's like psychological stages to trading. The depression stage, it dropped all the way to 3,000, right? And so let's put that level here at 3,000 as well as the low. Okay, so we got that and we got our high. So this is our high of Bitcoin for that time frame and the low. And then let's just see how it reacts to those prices. There was a lot of ups and downs. It went up. Now here, it's interesting. Even this low, which is probably a little bit higher. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Somewhere around there. You'll notice a lot of people, when COVID hit, I'm going to bring that up so you guys can see. So this is COVID. This is a COVID drop. Bitcoin was kind of dancing up here around $10,000. And then boom, COVID hit and it just boof. And it wicked down all the way to 3,700. Anybody want to guess why it didn't hit its support? And why it particularly hit around here? Does anybody know?
Resistance? I don't know.
Because a lot of people know that this is the level. And so they put their buy orders above it to try to buy.
Oh, they started buying.
So they know that this is a support for Bitcoin. Like,
They
why
know
didn't it drop to 1,000?
it won't get down. It won't get down to $3,000. Is what they know.
It
that.
won't. And so this is very interesting, and you're going to see why in a second. But people put buy orders to purchase these things ahead of time. You can put it in the tools. You can say, if Bitcoin hits this price, buy it. And then you go on with your day and you go to work and you do whatever you want to do. And you can just have buy orders in. So that's called an order book. And every stock and every crypto has an order book, and you can actually go view the order book and check it out and see where the orders are at. It's pretty cool. But anyways, a lot of people were thinking it's going to hit all the way down here. Since a lot of people were thinking that, they're like, I'm going to be real smart, and it's not going to be 3,000. I'm going to be 3,100. And other people are like, oh, I'm going to be even smarter than that guy and go 3,200. And they just keep building up, and you see it actually hit 3,700. That's the lowest Bitcoin got. And honestly,
lucky winner.
I'm pretty sure that's the lowest it's ever going to be for a while. So what's interesting is it drops down there and recovers. And, you know, this area here at the 10,000 is a psychological level. You'll notice it couldn't break above it. It tried, got rejected, tried, got rejected, tried, got rejected, tried, could not pass this psychological 10,000 level till July. And when it finally broke it, I'm going to zoom in. When it finally broke that level, it comes back and retests it. And why does it do that? Because it wants to verify that this is, can I count on this as support? Now it dropped, tested as support, bounced up, dropped down again, as support, boom, again, as support. Okay. In October 8th, it decided this is solid support. Let's take off from here. Boom, massive move up. So this is why understanding support and resistance is important. This looks like it was random. If I were to take this off, it looks completely random, not random at all. It was bouncing all around a major support area and resistance. Support on the bottom becomes resistance when the stock goes under it. And I can show you even here, it was probably bouncing up above this level. If we were to extend it, you will see that, you know, at times it bounced back up, bounce. And it stayed in this range. Once it finally broke it, it became resistance. See it right here? That little wick, it couldn't close above it and got rejected right here. So support and resistance levels and finding these is very key. Let me tell you a quick way to find some of them beyond just the highs and the lows. Psychological round numbers are big ones as well. So with certain coins and with certain prices, a nice fat round number is also
People
a
love
big deal.
round numbers.
Yeah, big round numbers, like 10,000 for Bitcoin, 20,000 for Bitcoin. So once we were going really cool here, this 20,000 level got rejected. You can see it. It tried for, what seems like a month and a half. Finally broke through and got through this psychological $20,000 level. And when it did that, it went on a move. As soon as it broke that, it just boom, right? Passed by this other zone here at 30,000 and shot all the way up to 41,000 in almost a straight line. Okay.
3 weeks.
Yep. It was a massive, but that's why did that happen? Because it broke this 20,000 psychological level. And so it went up. But remember what we said about retesting, it's going to go down and retest that level that it just beat, that 30,000. And it did go back and retest it as support now. See that? See how it didn't break all the way down? It just tested it as support. Once it's support, it moved up to the next level, got rejected here at the 40,000, but then we got this big bullish candle, broke through, and then went to the next level, almost 60,000, got rejected, tested as support. Do you guys see the pattern?
Yep.
Going up. Now, once we got to 60,000, you'll notice a lot of rejection here, a lot of resistance at this level. Got rejected, tried again, rejected, tried again, rejected, tried again, finally broke through for a brief moment in time, and then we got rejected from that level. And there's a whole other reason why this happened, which we can go into another time. This is actually a very old pattern called the Wyckoff distribution. That's like a, good Lord, it's from the 1900s. And when I show it to you, you're gonna be like, no way. Look at this pattern. This is from the 1900s, and then look at Bitcoin.
Wow.
You see it?
Yep.
And there's even the little peak above these lines, and there's the little peak above these lines. So it's pretty crazy how this all kind of has, but when you understand the patterns, it makes it a lot easier to understand where you're at in the cycle and how you can trade it. So all we need to know for right now, guys, is where the support and resistance is. And so to do that again, you draw the trend lines at the tops. You would grab a trend line here, draw it here, and you can see there, and then I'll draw the bottom ones. You'll notice that my trend line coincides with where I have my purple boxes of support and resistance. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up, right? Like, I'm not trying to do this on purpose. It just happens to line up that way. So,
and look, it just bounced right off it.
It bounced right off it. So where are we approaching right now? Check it out, right? Where are we right now, this second on Bitcoin to the minute? We are approaching this purple area, right? Which has typically been resistance. We hit it on the 15th and we got rejected. And then since then we haven't recovered. Now we did a massive move up and we are approaching it yet again and been rejected 1, 2, 3 times now. So what do you guys think?
I think we're gonna retest support. I hope.
Retest support.
Yeah.
It's gonna go down
I go to the,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is very tough to tell. This
It
is where
hard
it
to tell
gets
right
like,
now.
how do you know which way something's
Oh,
going?
because it can break through and it can just
Can break through.
Yeah,
We'd have to
and-
see, there'd have to be other things that tell us why.
Volume
How would
is
I know when
huge.
it broke through? Well, for one, do you see already a breakthrough? Do you see a breakthrough already? Do you guys see it yet or not yet?
Yes.
So,
yeah, I do see it with
yeah,
your
so-
indicators. Yeah.
not just with the indicators, but with the trend
Trend
itself.
line. Yeah.
So if you, let me go back to the Bitfinex.
Oh
one.
yeah, I see that.
It's actually, I think it was today actually, right? It's happened today. So if we go here and I have my previous trend line right here, you'll see it's like right there. And I have this one like that. You see the trend? Well, where are we? We're actually above it, right? So what am I looking for right now with support?
But the volume is not there.
Volume's not there. Not only that, it's going to come back and retest it. It did, and it's actually bounced a little bit. You'll see this if I zoom in a little bit.
Yeah,
you'll
see if it
what happened.
closes above.
Yeah, so what I'm
Mm.
looking, and you're waiting to see if it closes above that. So it's never been above this trend since May 19th. We got above the trend in the last couple days. Are we going to hold this support, this trend? Are we going to hold this trend line? It sold off, and it's trying to do that. If it breaks down from here, and yet I can make even smaller ones, guys, if you want to see how you can use trend lines. I can make a trend line here. You see that? Let me get rid of this blue line here.
Decision time.
Yeah, it's definitely a decision time. So let's look at what it's doing. So
You mean
This-
buy before it goes to
so here,
buy.
2,000?
it's got to make a decision, right? So what happens if we get a candle in the next 4 hours? And this is for trading. This is a smaller time frame, okay? But
Yeah.
let's say that it breaks down from here, right? If it breaks out of this trend, what would I expect? If it starts to get around 39.4, 39.3, what would you expect?
For it to go to the trend. I mean, the trend line you had.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
can draw a new one here, right? And
New-
see the
new
channel
trend.
that I'm in right now and say, okay, the highs have been here, the lows have been about here in the recent, this is a very recent, right? This new channel that I'm in. So I would expect to come down and, maybe test some of these levels, but ultimately I could
Down to
go all the way as
37.
low as here from this trend line and stay here. And you can decide what your risk reward is in terms of where do you want to be? Are you, like, if you're a short-term trader and I break this trade, I may want to get out as soon as this trend breaks, right? If you're doing it very quickly, like I would even go to smaller timeframes and you can really see what's going on here. So you can see this has been going on for quite some time. Now I get some different price action. Let's look here. Let me draw the reason why the wicks are different is because sometimes the stock moves within that hour, higher or lower, but it closed at a different level within 4 hours. So that's why you get different wicks at smaller timeframes, but it's still generally the same trend here. I'm in this kind of channel here.
Mhm.
And vice versa, if we break out above this, I would expect to retest this top level of
The 40K.
49. Yep.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Very interesting time right now for Bitcoin.
Yeah. So that's support and resistance. And I think let's just recap real quick. Again, we know what the candlesticks represent. You want to go to the daily chart, look at any coin, and know, first of all, put it on the daily and see what's going on. What's the uptrend? Is it an uptrend or a downtrend or an accumulation phase like it is right now? But even recently, you can clearly see we're in an uptrend, right? We've been going up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row. It looks like today's going to be our first red close. See it? And the candle's going to close in 1 hour. See the little clock right here? In 1 hour at 8 o'clock Eastern, this candle will close and we'll find out if it's going to be a red candle or a green candle. And in order for it to be a red green candle, it'd have to be above 39993. So it's gotta
Very
go
close.
about $40, very close to $40,000 to get above. But why is it facing pressure here? Well, you could see the yellow line. It's got a resistance right there, and you can see why, right? It's facing resistance right now. If I were in a trade right now, which I already did this, but I would be taking some profit right now.
Yep.
So if you were in a Bitcoin trade right now, I'd definitely be taking profit at this point, especially up on this level. Why? Because even if we break up, what are we going to do?
You'll have another chance.
You'll have another chance. 'Cause it's going to come down and retest that level. And you can buy in right at that same level again, but now you're buying it as support. So I'm not afraid of selling at these key supports and resistance.
Hey,
Does that make
Pablo.
sense, Lily?
Oh my God.
Hey, Pablo.
Yeah.
Do you ever
I need to
short
sell.
short the stock when you see that it's trending down or no?
Yeah. So Bocek is a huge short. He
I
loves
wanna learn.
support. I do like to short. I have not had the guts to short Bitcoin because of this kind of stuff. This
It's
is
so volatile. It's really
so
volatile.
volatile, it can wreck you, and they know that they can. We even track the shorts, Chris. So I'm tracking shorts. This is the short interest right now. It's really low, but we've noticed when this pumps up, right, Nico, you're going to
Yeah.
get wrecked. Like it's
Oh,
almost
yeah, it's
feeding
like-
this
it's
chart
like-
because you know when this line starts going up, it's coming for you. I also track the longs. Longs been going up for a while, guys. If this was interesting for you, since January, look what how many long positions have been opened. So this means that people are believing that Bitcoin's going to go up, right? That they're when I say long, it means they're buying it, hoping that it would go up over time. And short is that they're betting it's going to go down. So right now we don't have a lot of high short interest. And so this is something that I also monitor, Chris, but with
The shorts
John,
know how to win too, man. I don't
yeah,
know
they
how-
do. I mean, these whales always win, right? So why not follow them? I don't try to like be right. I just go with the trend. And so anyways, John is really good at shorting. And so I'm really excited about that because I've basically only been making money on half the move. And I'm very excited about making money on both sides of the coin here.
Yes.
I do short the regular stock market though. That's a little easier to do for me for whatever reason. That seems easier for me to short, and I have done that. So it's a little weird, you know, like you profit when things are dropping. It's kind of a strange thing, but you just have to get yourself into a mindset of what is the market telling you, and then positioning yourself accordingly, and just think of it from that perspective.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't you guys see the power of doing this? It's like crazy that you know, I think it's crazy that people don't, you know, use this at all. They have no
Yeah, but I mean, buying without technical analysis is wild to me. Unless you're a real long-term investor and you
don't
believe in
care.
the company and you're just going to buy Coca-Cola till you die, then go for it. You know what I mean? Like more likely you're going to do well, right? With something like that, or even Bitcoin. If you just want to buy Bitcoin and forget it and buy it on a weekly basis, who cares what the price is? I'm down with that. I'm okay with that. I think that's a good strategy as well. You don't even have to trade. Just buy it every week. Forget that you even have it. Check it in 5 years. You're welcome. You know. But anyways, so we covered candlesticks. We covered up and down trends. We covered support and resistance. And the last thing I will say is indicators. And I'll just spend a few minutes. If you guys give me a little bit extra time, I know we're right at 7. If anybody has to leave, totally understand. But I'm just going to show you the indicators that John's going to use. There's tons of indicators. You don't need all of them. So let me go to my Bitfinex Bitcoin so I can show you which ones I would turn on. And okay. All right. So this is a brand new one here. I'm going to delete all my stuff. So maybe it looks like whatever you have. And the first indicator I would put in here. So you go here to indicators. I would add the MACD, and you could just type in MACD, and this is a momentum indicator. So I probably have it added here already. Let me close some of these out here.
All right, I need to.
Yeah, so MACD looks like this. So you'll get this indicator here. And the MACD is a really good indicator to show just a real quick, let me give you the quick cheat here. These two lines, this blue and orange, when they are high and above this middle, like imagine this was split into 2 panes. You got a green side, like a positive side, and then like a negative sell side. When you are in the top range and you get this kind of peak going on, these are high. These are like peaks in the stock. Okay, they're like you're reaching an apex. You know what I mean? When you get this crossover, I'll show you what I mean by the crossover. When this blue line crosses over this orange, that's a very bearish thing. That means you're going down, typically. See it over here, see it over here. And you can see these red and green things as they're dark green, you're a lot of momentum up. The green is like it's cooling off, and then it heated up again, heated up, and you can see the momentum started climbing, and it reached kind of this apex up here. Then it started cooling off, and then dark red, strong momentum down, slowing down momentum, slowing down, going back up, strong up, and you just go in these cycles, okay? So if you were buying, let's not even look at the price. If you were buying, where would you want to buy on this cycle? Would you want to buy up here? What do you
No,
guys
at the
think?
bottom red, more at the 500. Wait,
Here,
no, keep going. Wait,
Right there.
yes, right there. No,
right here?
right there.
Right.
Somewhere around here?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's true. This is where you would want to buy. This is where you would want to be selling. Okay. So knowing this indicator, I haven't even looked at the price, and then we can go see what the price was at these two levels, and let's just see if we were right. So here, this is January 12th, and you can actually see the apex at January 9th. And let's just go back and look. And what would happen with the price? So Bitcoin was on January 9th, right here, 41,000. And then the 12th, when it had that cross, it was around, you know, I mean, it dropped in here 30,000, maybe even 32,000 if you get this next dang wick, right? So from this moment, though, it's telling you you're in a downwards trend. And from this moment, even though it went up, it doesn't matter. It was dropping, and it dropped all the way to 28. See that? So you can kind of use these momentums to kind of catch these ups and downs. Now, I'll tell you one thing, even this drop was still on the positive side. If you keep going, do you guys see where you would have bought using this indicator? Where was the optimal time to buy? Can you see it? Right around here, right?
Yeah.
Now we're not even in that top section, we're in the bottom section. This is a great time to buy. And so when you look at these levels down here, this is something that I look at. I always look at the MACD and see where am I in the MACD? Because when you're low, you got a lot of room to go up. So this was a low right here. We kind of, you know, bottomed out somewhere around here, 32, 31. So these were really good prices. You know, you even wicked out at 29 on some of these. You would have got some really good prices. So in the general trend of Bitcoin, this is a really good time to buy right now. But you will notice we've been climbing up here pretty significantly since then. So we're kind of like in middle no man's land right now. You know, if you didn't have a position, would I be opening a position right now? I don't think so, especially not with this strong move.
So even though the volume shows that people were selling, right?
That's what this is showing. It is showing the volume. That's exactly what it's showing, is all this sell pressure. See it?
right.
That's what.
So that's when you buy. Yeah.
Yeah, and so just the investor mindset, right? You are a buyer when others are selling a lot. When people are fearful and the things are low, and it's kind of like, you know, Bitcoin's going to zero and blah blah blah, and all the level indicators are down, and you're getting things at a discount. That is the time to buy. That is the time to buy. That's not the time to sell. Well, I think we covered this in the market psychology,
Yeah, buy when it's red, or
Yeah,
buy
if
when
you
it's
didn't-
red, and sell when it's green. Yeah.
correct. And even though retail does the exact opposite, right? We've talked about this many times, that the public, smart money and institutional investors always get in low, right? Stealth and awareness phase. The public and the general person out there, when like your Uber driver's talking about Bitcoin, you know what I mean? Like when everybody's buying, they're usually already late and they're about to get wrecked. So you got to be very careful when you start to see some of these kind of feelings around the market. And you even have your little bull trap that it's going to go up and boom. You know, who's paying smart money and institutional? It's usually the public. Their money comes in, and then the institutional investors sell, pull the rug on them. And that just happens over and over and over again. And so
Where are we at now?
So we've been in this accumulation phase, probably in this choppiness here. In my opinion, I don't think we've hit the depression phase. I think we're
Right.
somewhere in this, like maybe we had this dip and we're going up, but we're in a general downtrend. I can show it to you. I mean, you can kind of see it already, but we've kind of been trending down. Right now, we kind of went above it, which is, you know, a bullish sign, but we haven't confirmed anything yet, right? No candle closes yet.
Mhm.
So I need to see above a certain level, and I can show you the trend, the bigger trend, if you want to see it. It's pretty obvious. Let's do it here. That's a trend right there in the top, right? That's a bigger trend. We're not there yet. We can very much get to this level somewhere around the 42 range, probably somewhere on there, and still reject down and be in a bigger trend down. right?
So how did you get that trend from,
I'm just connecting two trend lines out the daily on Bitcoin from the
I
high
see.
to this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I see it now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, Pablo?
Yeah.
If Bitcoin is trending down, do the other cryptocurrencies necessarily follow whatever Bitcoin's doing, or are they
Yeah.
on their own kind of?
Kind of. They do follow Bitcoin for periods of time, but not to get too technical on that, but there's another chart called the dominance. And so Bitcoin dominance against the altcoins. So you got to see right now, I even track that trend here. If you can see that the altcoins were really winning for a while, but from like May 19th, Bitcoin's kind of been setting. Now you guys know what this is, right? Can you guys see what's been happening? It's a low,
Yep.
higher low, a higher low. This is probably going to go up and come down somewhere on here, go up and come, you're right. So what's Bitcoin doing against alts right now, right? So what this means is the value of Bitcoin against that alt, the alts are losing ground against Bitcoin. And so you can go into a chart and actually see this, like instead of looking at, let's say Ethereum, I'll pick on Ethereum for a second. Let's look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, and you'll see that, you know, Ethereum's been going down against Bitcoin. It's losing value. It had its big run up, and it's over, you know, since that same time frame that I told you guys about May, it's been losing value against Bitcoin. So if you were holding Ethereum, you're actually losing Bitcoin right now. It's been dropping in Bitcoin value. At some point, though, we know it will have a breakout, right? And you will be gaining Bitcoin on it. And so there's, you know, you can actually see in the longer trend, it's forming this really nice kind of bullish pattern up here. We should be expecting a breakout at some point. So anyways, yeah, the alts do follow Bitcoin, Chris, but they do, especially the really small ones, they kind of tend to have their own personality too, though. So like Ryan said earlier, you got to kind of watch every coin. But in general, if Bitcoin drops significantly, the other ones drop. But I will say this, is following Bitcoin for as long as I have, when it starts to go sideways is where the alts start to get their own personality. Have you noticed that, guys?
Yes, yes.
So when Bitcoin starts to kind of like get into a steady ground where it's kind of like up and down and not really dropping or raising, the alts kind of just start shooting off. Like
Yeah.
you get like I'll show you guys, like, you know, and they move at their own rates. Like Polkadot right now
Oh, yeah.
has been doing its thing. And this may not seem a lot, but this little move here from the bottom has been, you know, a 47% move. And then if you go to other smaller coins, like I think I mentioned Hydra to you guys last time, it's a crap coin. I'm not recommending it or anything. But Hydra's move from this bottom range has been 78%.
Whoa. Yeah.
And this is in a matter of, I don't know, a few days.
Can you take a look at
10 days.
Luna? What is Luna?
Yeah, Luna's been
Crazy.
nutty.
Nutty.
Yeah, Luna's been nutty. Luna,
Oh, wow.
yeah, Luna in the last few days has been, you know, 97%.
Oh,
So
yeah.
basically in the last, you know, week or so, you would have doubled your money on Luna. And there would have been times, let's look at the MACD now that you guys know, where was a great time to buy Luna? Here's another indicator, MFI or RSI you can put here. When those are low is a great time to buy. So you have price action low, MFI low, or RSI. I can change this for RSI. And your MACD is also low. This is a straight buy. You would have got Luna somewhere in the $4 range.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
Right? And so from $4 till now, that was in May, you'd be up 183% roughly. In a downtrend, right? We're supposedly in a downtrend. So you can definitely make money here just by following the indicators and being patient. Don't buy it here. Don't buy it here. You got to wait till you get these levels. And this is ridiculous. Like it really respected the MFI signal of being oversold here. See that? Exactly on the day that it poked out of here is this day.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of being patient. Don't FOMO in. FOMO is like fear of missing out. Don't just jump in because people are buying it or anything, you know. And so But anyways, even if you would have bought it up here, guys, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because even if you're at the bottom, like you're saying,
Then you
because
hold on and you wait for the top. Now look where Luna's at now, though.
no. I'm
You-
saying, how do we know it's gonna keep dropping? So that's the
But
FOMO.
more
in,
importantly,
even down.
where do you guys see
Yeah.
Luna right now, Lily? Look
Yeah.
at Luna right now. What would you do right now? We're climbing high on the MACD. We're
Take
we're entering
profits.
overbought
Take
territory.
profits.
This would be a time to take some profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. This would be a time to take some profit. So anyways, I'm going to stop there, guys, but hopefully you guys kind of, you know, I would say the MACD, and then the other one that I will say real quick is the moving averages. And that one you can just, you can get a moving average here.
So Pablo, do you prefer to use the money flow instead of RSI?
I like both. I mean, I have one that has all of them. So, you know, I'll show you my one that I use. Not this one. I do like MFI too, because sometimes especially the stock RSI, can be off. And I know that shows a different thing. Let's see, maybe it's this one. Which one's the one with all of them? Oh, I lost my indicators.
This has been very helpful, Paulo. Thank you.
It's weird. It's like I lost my,
RSI.
I lost all my other indicators. But anyways, I can show you a quick way to get it. You can go here and go oscillators. If you click that, you'll get them right there. So you get the stock RSI, RSI, CCI, and then I can actually add my MFI too. And now I got it. So I have all my indicators. So if I'm looking at, like, let's look at Ethereum right now, stock RSI is low, kind of in the middle there, kind of going up already here, and kind of like in the middle here. So I haven't hit all my levels, but there's times that it does. Like right here, right here, right here, right here. See this one right here? And
That's cool, man. I didn't even know this oscillators option
and
was
look
here.
where the price is at. The price would have been, you would have caught this bottom like a champ.
Dang.
And this is against Bitcoin. So if you did like Ether against the dollar, see if it would have still caught it. Yeah, see low here, low, low, and low here. And probably if I would have add the MACD, you'll see that it's low there too. Yep, low. So this is a screaming buy right here on like June 25th, and you would have got it somewhere in the price 1700 range. Yep, 1712. So it's pretty much as simple as that. If you have the discipline, if you can just hold out and see if all your indicators line up, and when they see it, all I'll tell you is that when it hits, you're scared. I can guarantee you that. It's very scary.
Second guess yourself a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
it could dip a little bit even below that, and you're just kind of scared. But as you do it over and over, you stop to get scared. But I can tell you we're nearing a sell time. See that? All of them are kind of creeping up.
I think it really hit home when Bocek was like, never try and hit the lowest low or the highest high, because you're never going to. You may just do it by accident once in a while, but you're never going to do it on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. You can get pretty lucky. And what difference does it make, honestly, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, why would you risk
3% or
so much
2%.
for like a small move? But
yeah.
yeah, I would check at the minimum, guys. Load your stock, put it on the daily, put your oscillators on, and just see where you're at. And don't buy it if it's not on the low, if you're going long. And then on the top, if you're seeing like something like this very soon with Ethereum, I'd probably be cashing out, at least taking some profit off the table.
Unless you're holding.
Yeah, if you're holding, but then
Yeah.
don't get upset when it drops, right? Because we're at the top of a channel. We're at the top.
Yeah,
of
but
a
if you
channel.
bought below 1,000, you're not upset.
Some people get upset just seeing their accounts drop, right? But
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at least you would expect a pullback. We just had a strong impulse. I would definitely expect a pullback. So
Right.
cool. All right, guys.
There's some questions on the chat.
Any other let me see. Nico, is there any questions?
Do you do this every week? You have a meeting every week?
Yeah, Chris, they're all different. So we had like 6 sessions just on foundations, not about stocks, but just investing in general, like getting in the right mindset and
Right.
the way the system is set up for you, the American dream and all that, and just really getting people just in the right mindset of investing and how that works and psychology
Yep.
and all that. And then we're going to break off in 3 different areas. So real estate, stocks, and then business. And I'm not going to be speaking on all of them. I'm very familiar with stocks and crypto, but I still got a guy that's way better. He's a pro. And so he's going to be speaking on that. And then we'll get people on real estate and then people in business. Maybe you'll be a speaker on the business side, Chris. Chris has a fantastic company called BioBex. A little shout out to Chris.
Yeah,
Who's Chris?
this is
Oh, yeah,
really-
well, hi.
this is really interesting.
Yeah. Did you learn anything, Chris? Did you know this stuff or?
Well, I've seen the candlestick charts before, but not, haven't really used them as much as I probably should have, because I think this is a lot better way to watch the trends and learn when to buy and when to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Like let's say you just opened up Apple and then just zoom out and let's see where we're at. Well, hey, on the daily low, on the way down, on the way down, on the way down. It just had a bearish cross, right? We just covered this, right? See how this is just had a bearish cross down.
Yeah, I haven't bought and sold it. I bought it back when it was 70, when everything crashed in the market.
Oh, you're fine, man. You're up big on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.